Hello, friends, and welcome to a new episode of Out for Coffee.
With Mike and Laurie.
Good morning, Laurie. You waking up?
Sorry, I'm just dozing off there for a second.
Oh, speaking of dozing off, yeah. Right. A moment ago, for the rest of the audience, a moment ago, we were just having this conversation about our combined enjoyment of sleep apnea, apparently.
A nice little uphill struggle for the both of you, eh?
Apparently.
What's new in the health world of Laurie?
Hi, I'm Mike Crabb.
And I'm Laurie Schultz. Welcome to the show.
We'll have some caffeinated conversation.
And maybe some special guests along the way.
Who knows where the conversation will go? You're out for coffee with Mike and Laurie. Well, I do want to say a very happy a very happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, including my own. Happy Father's Day, Dad.
Good for you.
Having trouble getting that out, Mike?
Well
it took
done,
a moment.
Mike.
I was choking on my water.
Are you going through puberty?
Maybe. Second puberty. It's time. Yeah, it's but happy Father's Day. And Rob, happy Father's Day to you as well.
Day, Rob.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And
I am a very happy father, actually.
Are you?
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
You got such a
absolutely.
lovely family. You should be very proud of them.
They are a good bunch. There's no question of that. And yeah, I'm very proud of them all.
Oh, good
That's
stuff.
nice.
Do you have any fond Father's Day memories of yours past? Any gifts or gestures or anything like that stick out to you as a favorite memory, or a complete and utter craziness of like, how did that happen? Nope.
Mike, I don't even understand the question.
I don't know what I was trying to do. I almost feel like we need to start over. This is not going well.
I'm drawing a blank here. I'm not really sure what you're asking.
I'm trying.
Here.
I'm trying my best.
Any memorable Father's Days, Robs?
Yeah.
Robs?
Memorable
How many Robs are there? Rob? Oh, Jesus.
Probably my most memorable Father's Day would be that first Father's Day. My son is the oldest. I have a son and a daughter. My son is the oldest, and he was born in January. So, that June, and he would be like 6 months old.
Right.
Would technically be my first Father's Day. And so that's, that was kind of special.
That would
I
be.
I do recall that. Although it's hard now, to be honest with you, my son and my wife, this just kind of dawned on her not that long ago, which is kind of strange because she's usually on top of this kind of thing. But it just all of a sudden one day dawned on her, this coming January, my son will turn 40.
Oh.
And it's right. That was not quite my wife's reaction. Let me tell you, she was like, "What?
Wow, that doesn't add up. It's impossible."
Yeah, when did that happen? And
it's not all that bad being 40.
Oh no, not being 40. Being the parent of 40
I know.
Is
that's
that's
not all that bad either, right,
being
Mom?
the father of 40. But anyway, so it's there are some days when it's hard to remember that first Father's Day. But it was kind of special. So
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we get to spend some time today and kind of celebrate with you in a way, right? So that's great. So I thought maybe we can share some stories and such of our dad, Laurie. I never had an opportunity to meet your father. He was a character, wasn't he?
The legend lives on. The man, the myth, the legend.
There you are.
Yeah.
You've inherited his smart assery. I do know this.
Except I'm kind about it.
He was a little bit more cutthroat.
A little. You remember? You guys remember Archie Bunker? Mike, you might not, but Rob,
I do.
know
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Now imagine Archie Bunker / Jackie Gleason.
Okay.
On steroids.
Oh my gosh.
Just juiced up a little bit. Yeah.
Wow.
It was wild times.
That was daddy.
Yeah. I think, this is kind of how Jerk Merch. That's actually kind of a legacy, really. That's how my little business, Jerk Merch, started.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When Dad died, when we had a big party, he didn't want anything he didn't even want to pay for like funeral stuff. That poor guy,
Right. Oh.
that poor dude who came and sold him that funeral package earned his paycheck that day. I can tell you that. I've never seen anybody haggle over a pine box before. But yeah, so Dad didn't want to spend the money on that, and he's like, you better not spend any goddamn money on okay, we're having a party, so this is how it works.
Deal with it.
But we had a big party at the Holiday Inn in town here.
Quality
Inn, not the Holiday
Oh
Inn.
yeah, okay.
Quality Inn. Thanks, Mike. Our friend Julie set it up with me when she worked there. Yeah, it was great.
Nice.
But it was like it was a party. Like there was no it was a party.
Yep.
And I brought a bunch of stuff from Dad's house in, so it was like almost like a little museum.
Okay.
His report cards, like photos, big photo wall things. He had a lot of sayings. Some of them I can't repeat here.
That's fair.
Because I want to keep my job. I can't, but he he was known for some of the things that he would say. So I had this picture on like a big poster board with a picture of his head, and I had speech bubbles coming out from his head on this big table.
Yeah.
And some of those things were on it. I tried to calm it down a little bit for a mass audience at the place. But anybody who was there would know.
Right.
They would know.
Yeah, they know what's going on.
And I called it the Gospel of Schultz.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
And so I made some merchandise for our immediate family, like a couple of mugs and some magnets with things that he had said on them, like coming out of speech bubbles. And somebody had said to me, if you actually made this as a mug, I would buy that. Somebody who wasn't in the family. And I'm like, interesting.
Noted. Yeah.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
Interesting. And so
there was born
the Gospel of Schultz is kind of the handle.
Yes.
And then jerk merch. Like I had some magnets. I started with magnets and mugs.
Sure.
Just kind of dumb stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have moved away from those things now.
Sure.
It was my friend Katie who said, you should a mug is a commitment. If you want someone to pay like 15 or 20 bucks for a mug, that's a commitment. Yeah. You should get into greeting cards. And I went, And 7 years later, there are now 200 jerk cards for all occasions.
Wow.
Yep.
Good
and
for you.
Everyone has, you've probably seen the picture out there, anybody who follows us. It's me kind of looking angry, kind of. That's my teaching face. My
Did you just say that?
My teaching face.
No, I meant that's what the face
the look.
Yes,
like,
that's the face.
That's the look. Actually, that's very similar to the look my wife will give me quite often. Like, did you just say that?
Yeah. So that's, you have an authentic jerk card. If you flip it over and it says the Gospel of Schultz, jerk merch, and that face on the card.
Yeah, that face staring right at you.
So, and the
and if
the
you turn it, the eyes follow you.
That's by design. But the irony of this whole thing is the biggest fan of those jerk cards would have been him.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Of course, he would probably have his own. This might sound really. I don't know if I don't want to sound insane. I'm like, why stop now, right? But sometimes things will come to me, and I can almost hear his voice giving them to me.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I don't know if it's him like chirping in my ear from somewhere else, or if it's just my psyche. But I can absolutely hear his voice.
Yeah.
And I will wake up in the middle of the night like, I gotta write that down. Right. And so 200 cards later, that's pretty much where jerk cards have landed. And thanks to the Gospel of Schultz.
Excellent.
Well, I'm going to say really quick, and speaking of hearing, for our audience that are tuning in today, you might hear some snoring in the background. That is my dog recovering from her surgery. So I apologize for that noise back there. Yeah. She's still going at it. So I apologize for that. But Laurie, your jerk merch, you have got something for literally every occasion.
Yeah. I got some great Father's Day cards.
Yeah, you do actually.
It's not for everybody. But I do have one
Right.
that says Happy Father's Day from one of your legitimate children.
Very good.
Yeah, thanks.
You should
Happy
No, I was
Father's
just
Day.
yeah.
Or no, have a great Father's Day, or I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how many times I heard that?
Oh,
Quit your
listen,
quit your
Lori,
bawling, or
we're
I'll
talking.
give you something to cry about.
Yeah, if we're talking about dads, yeah, I mean, I definitely grew up with my, that a dad from that era. It was, I'll give you something to cry about.
Yes.
Turn it off, or I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because of my generation, and I'll say my generation because I know I've got at least a couple of years on both of you. So
Couple.
just a couple. But yeah, I mean that whole attitude of suck it up and men don't show your emotions
Rub some
and
dirt
don't
in it.
yeah, that's right, get on with it,
Mhm.
suck it up, buttercup.
Hey, in our family, it was
And
eat or be eaten.
turn that off, or I'll give you something to cry about.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a standard part of my growing up.
Did you ever hear this one? If you weren't paying attention, hey, what the hell are your ears painted on?
I haven't heard that one.
I have used that. And sometimes I'm like, oh, that's not me. I didn't say that.
Was that me? Oh my
I'm
gosh.
channeling. I'm channeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Are your ears painted on? Oh, like,
Wow. Yeah.
I'll tell you
I
what,
know.
though.
And as a dad, I know for a fact there's been many times when I have just caught myself short because there are things you will vow I will never speak to my kids like that, or I will never say that to my kids, or blah blah blah, until one day all of a sudden your kid does something and instinct kicks in and you suddenly go, who said that? And that was my dad. It sort of came through there, and I caught myself and I go, oh, I said I'd never do that, but I did.
It's like imprinted on your DNA.
It is.
It's a part of who you are.
It is very much so.
I've asked Meatloaf if his ears were painted on.
What did he say?
Nothing. He just looked at me and continued to lick the couch.
Yeah, there you
go.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any fond memories? Like, did you do anything, like any trips or like what, Laurie, what did you and your dad get up to? Was there things that you were memory makers for you guys?
Well, my dad actually, you know how I'm into music. I like music. I sing in a band. I like all kinds of music.
Yeah.
Like all kinds of music. Mom listened to things like Patsy Cline and Elvis and Buddy Holly and stuff like that. Dad was all like bluegrass, like hardcore, old school, old time country and bluegrass.
Okay.
And I have an appreciation for all of that. Right.
Right.
So, I mean, Dad sang in some groups himself, and my dad and my aunt sang together and made a couple of records together.
Right.
And I got to go to the recording studio with them way back in, dare I say, 20 years ago now.
Okay.
Like early 2000s. And got to record a tune on their little album there.
Oh.
I think it was their second or third album. Anyway, these were not sold in stores type albums, but
no,
they've made their way around.
Oh, yeah.
My aunt and uncle on my mom's side have a copy, and they used to go down to Tennessee and to Texas.
Yeah.
So they brought our CD down to Nashville. So we made it to Nashville at one point.
Hey, look at that.
Excellent.
But just that, if you're familiar at all with bluegrass, which much of our audience may not be, I don't know, maybe they are, there's a lot of harmony in bluegrass.
Oh yes, very, very much so.
Like it's a very harmony driven genre. And when I was very young, I was able to, it's probably just from that whole Suzuki method of immersion listening. I was able to pick out harmonies and sing harmonies. I'm like 8 years old singing a harmony part to something
Oh, cool.
Who the hell taught you how to do that? Like, I don't read music. I can a bit, but and if they're like, if I'm listening to a duet, there will be a third part added to that duet, whether it warrants it or not.
It's
That
happening.
duet will have a third. And so that was just kind of one of those things that I think I just absorbed from being immersed in that as a kid. And I have a huge appreciation for that, for bluegrass music. It's not like 24/7 on my rotation,
Right.
but if it comes on, I'll crank it.
You got a special place for that, eh?
Yeah, so there was definitely the love of music and the love of smartassery and the whole concept of who cares? What do you care what anybody else is thinking? My dad would say things and do things in public, and
that should not
I'd
be
like,
done.
oh
but
my
he doesn't care.
God, man. I used to say to him, he used to ask me if my ears were painted on, and I would ask him, do your ears ever hear what your mouth says? We did a lot of this, but apparently we are the same person.
Oh, who tells you that? Does your mom tell you that?
Sometimes. And oh my God, I got his frame. We've talked about this in a previous episode. I got his frame and I got his
structure,
brick.
like
Yes, his
physical
brick
frame.
feet. We have a picture of this somewhere in our This Week We Discuss, his brick feet and the tree trunk legs.
Yes, we do have a photo of you with tree trunk legs and brick feet somewhere.
Thanks, Dad. I got his eczema. I got his sleep apnea, apparently. Just got diagnosed with that last week. So let's see, what is that now?
Wow.
ADHD, sleep apnea, blah 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 blah.
Just all his best qualities, eh?
Yeah,
There,
really.
All boiled down into one Laurie.
My brother sails on through with his ability to make muscles, and I'm like, I'll have another.
You can't even make an ice cream sandwich.
That's right. I'm on my fourth cupcake. Anyway, yeah. So I think I got some good things in there, because really that whole idea of who the hell cares what somebody else thinks.
Right.
I'm doing it the way I want to do it.
It should be the way we need to move forward with a lot of things in life.
We have to temper it with some
kindness. We need to be nice
and some social responsibility. But I think maybe I'm bringing out a little bit of that, hopefully, or maybe not. I don't know. Well, I'm getting worse as I get old, though. In my old age, I'm like, I understand what Dad meant by this now. I'm that crotchety old lady. Just get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
Just keep your crows around and you're happy. Just watch how far that needle goes, though. Keep it a little bit to one side.
Yeah. I'll try. How about you, Mike? What did you get from your daddy-o?
My handsome good looks and my cunning wit, I'm sure. My dad and I had a lot of really good times over the years, and especially too, like over the last it might have even been more than 10 years now. At least 10 years. It's been a while though, but we go geocaching. Have you heard of geocaching before? I feel like you've heard of it, Rob.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I think so it's like you told me.
Oh, so essentially geocaching, you can go to geocaching.com and there's hidden little packages all over the place. And you can find them. And sometimes there's like clues to get to them and stuff like that. And it's kind of like a little treasure hunt. And so I have a lot of fond memories of doing this with my dad, where we go. It's great because you kind of explore new places that might be even close to home that you haven't really been to before. And there's some tricky ways to hide these things. So sometimes it takes, you need to be a little clever to find them. And I have a lot of really wonderful memories of doing that with my dad, as well as with Kevin and my mom. But usually they were complaining about how tall the grass was and how we're going to get ticks. So usually
that's a reasonable fear.
And snakes. Kevin won't do the snakes.
Stay home.
Yeah.
Stay home. There you are.
So they'll stay in the car while my dad and I root around in the bushes and find these lovely little hidden treasures. So
is this not like Pokemon? Is this just not like what Pokemon Go is?
No.
Geocaching?
No, it's a lot.
Isn't it like the same concept of?
No, not at all.
Not really.
No, geocaching is a physical thing.
On.
A geocache is a physical thing, so it can be as small as like think of like a film canister, right? Like a little
Yeah.
can. So that might be one, right? And somebody can hide this. They'll hang it in a tree, or they'll put a magnet on it and hide it underneath like a guardrail or something like that, or a railing. And so you got to follow these hints to kind of locate it. And the idea is you don't really want to be caught. You don't want people to know you're looking for it. So you got to kind of go under the radar a bit to try to find these things. You find it, and you'll sign a little log in it to say, hey, I found it, like check. I think I found 141 of them myself. And sometimes they're bigger, like it's like an ammo box. So it's like quite sizable. And you have to like go way back in the back of forest. You'll find it like lost in a tree trunk. And sometimes with them, you can kind of like, some people will bring a little something, like it could be like a McDonald's toy or some coins or something like that. And you can kind of like trade things. You drop something off, pick something up. Also, you can buy geocache. It's called a travel bug, and it's like a dog tag, right? And it has a code on it. So if I have this and I put it into a geocache, somebody comes along, they pick that up, they pick that travel bug up, they move it to a different one, and they log that they moved it to this new location. And you can track where it goes. The first one I have ever found was quite a few years ago, and it originated in Sweden, and it made its way all the way over here. So you can actually go on a map and see all the points that it made to get to where it is today. And it was just on 11th line here in Woodstock is where I found it. So there's some kind of cool things like that.
So I'm just kind of thinking out loud here.
Okay.
If I was like
Oh no.
Where are we going?
if I was like a modern day serial killer, which I'm not.
Okay.
But that would be kind of like
Just
a cool
just
way.
thinking out loud.
Just think it out. Just spitballing here. That might be a cool way, kind of like to be the next Zodiac.
Okay.
You know, you're like the geocacher, where you give the FBI hints to where like things are, like evidence from the. No,
Let's write a movie. Let's write a movie. You're onto
Not-
something.
no good.
It's, well, I wouldn't say good, but you're onto something maybe.
But wouldn't that be like? You remember the Zodiac killer, right? He wrote all those letters with clues and stuff.
Yeah.
Like this could be like a 21st century Zodiac.
Maybe
The geocacher.
The geocacher. Maybe.
Wow.
Did you hear that they solved who the Zodiac killer is?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. All these years later, they finally cracked it.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I just actually finished a book on Ed Gein.
Oh, lovely. Some lighthearted. Yes, I do.
And for those who don't know, Ed Gein was the serial killer who was the inspiration behind Norman Bates from Psycho, Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
Yeah, he had all sorts of lovely, soup bowls made out of skulls. And
yes, he did.
Lampshades made out of
and masks made out of like actual. Anyway, this is
okay. This is
Wow.
lovely.
You know
Happy
what?
Father's Day.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did we left turn into that from Father's Day?
Okay,
Oh,
let's tie it in. My dad and I would always watch the
Right.
ID channel together.
Okay.
Yeah, is this investigative discovery?
Investigation Discovery.
Okay.
So that was like the
Yep.
forensic channel,
Sure.
and we would watch
Sure.
true crime
Yeah.
and
yeah.
all these things. And he also was the dude that I would watch the horror movies with.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So-
there you go.
So there,
Yep.
we're tying it. We're
It's
tying
a
it
lot
in.
of bonding
Good-
time over
Good
some
for
lovely.
you. Yeah. Good for you.
Like I said, if you were in my family, you either ate or were eaten. So- You get in line with these things, or you have many, many years of therapy ahead.
Yeah.
What shows did you watch? What TV shows did you watch with your dad?
I watch things like All in the Family.
Right.
Like I'm talking before ID channel.
Right.
All in the Family, Sanford and Son. Bum, 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 bum. Sorry. Sanford and Son, Cheers. Would watch
Okay.
with Dad. Night Court. What else would I watch with my dad? Oh, like Lauren Green's Wild Kingdom. Sunday
What is
nights.
that? I don't even know what that is.
It was like a nature show.
Oh.
Where like tonight we're focusing on the jackal or whatever. I don't know. And then, it's always funny, like when you're focusing on the predator,
Uh-huh.
you're like, yeah, get him. But as soon as the next night it's all about the prey, you're like, no, don't get him, don't get him.
No, he's got a family.
That's right. You got to root for who the star of the show is, I guess.
Well, it's how they edit the music and stuff. It really puts a tone onto who you need to be rooting for.
Yeah. So things like that I would watch with Dad, like comedy shows like crazy. You know, those, he hated Seinfeld though. He used to get mad at me. Seinfeld's for kids. Really?
Interesting.
Because I don't think it is.
Interesting.
He wanted to watch things like the Antique Roadshow. This is as he was getting older.
Right.
And like who are those guys in Las Vegas? The
Penn and Teller.
No, Pawn Stars.
Pawn Stars, yeah.
Pawn Stars. He's like, that's real TV. I'm like, what? What? Yeah, I think
but
you're
Seinfeld's not. Seinfeld's for kids. Pawn
for...
Stars for men. Yeah.
Yeah, but he would get so upset about things. Like he was, if you think I'm a little high strung, and I can be maybe a little bit. I don't know. Maybe. Just I can get 0 to 60. He would be 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Do you remember that commercial? Remember the juicy fruit gum?
Yeah.
Juicy fruit, it's gonna move you. There was these 3 guys sitting in a dinghy in the middle of the ocean, and they're like chewing juicy fruit.
Yeah.
And oh my God, just out of nowhere, one day Dad just gets so mad. He's like, I'll tell you what, I wish I could just drill that asshole in the middle.
What?
Take it down a notch, man.
Some anger management issue right there.
Oh, totally. He was just calm, and all of a sudden just he was so mad at that guy in the dinghy. Like, dude,
how dare he?
It's a commercial.
It's an actor. It's
just a commercial, man.
But he'd watched it 1,000 times and not said anything.
Oh, right. And then
until
just one
day it just snapped.
Done. Yeah. That was it. Like, I understand how people snap because I've seen it. And it was juicy fruit that did it. But he also had this philosophy about ketchup on hot dogs. I'm sure you've both heard this.
I've heard. It's not
man,
allowed.
Man, it's not allowed. And he would just berate you if he ever saw you do it, put a ketchup on a hot dog. So when he was sick and he couldn't eat, he spent, oh my God, I don't know why he did this. He's obviously eating with his eyes. Right. I took care of him while he was sick, and I spent time at his house. Like, we would spend like 12 hours a day watching the Food Network.
Oh, that's like torture.
Totally. Like, for somebody who can't eat. But I guess he was eating with his eyes. Okay. And of course, all the commercials on the Food Network are also food based. Right?
Yeah.
So there was this one commercial about Maple Leaf hot dogs, I think it was. And he said, now, come here. He called me Bud my whole life.
Yeah.
Never by my name. It was Bud. Okay. He's like, Bud, come here. I'm like, what? He's like, look at this commercial. I'm like, yeah. He said, you see that hot dog? Yeah. Do you see any ketchup on that hot dog? No. And he said, do you know why? And I'm thinking there's some kind of a philosophical description of why there's no. Sure. And I said, no, why? He said, because ketchup doesn't belong on a goddamn hot dog.
He's letting his feelings be known.
Oh, yes. I think
that is for certain.
He was projecting probably some, he knew he was dying.
Did he?
I'm like, okay, the hot dog is innocent in all of this. The hot dog did nothing. Oh, man.
The hot dog didn't even have ketchup on it, right? Did it have ketchup on it in the commercial?
No. And that's he was telling me, because hot dogs don't have ketchup.
So he got upset for the sake of getting upset. There wasn't anything that even prompted.
That doesn't sound like us, does it? In our family. Just for the sake of getting upset.
Wow.
Did he enjoy ketchup outside of hot dog world? On
French fries?
Okay.
Yes, but ketchup never on anything with cheese. So if you had a cheeseburger, there was no ketchup on it. I'm like, dude, come on. And he never put his ketchup in the fridge. This was a big argument.
Okay.
It says right on the bottle, refrigerate after opening.
I would join him on that. I am not a refrigerator of ketchup.
Refrigerate after opening, Mike. Can't.
It says.
What are your eyes painted on? Yeah, but brilliant. I cleaned out his fridge. We were selling the house and everything after he died. I cleaned out the fridge, and I was like, this has got to be some kind of cosmic joke on me, because this guy, oh, Mike, you'll love this. He had like 17 jars of pickles opened in his fridge of the same type of pickle. It's not like he had 17 different types of pickles.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
He would just get one and shove it to the back and then get a new one instead of getting rid of the old one. I'm like, what is happening? There were salad dressings that had expired 2-3 years prior to.
Yeah.
Things in his kitchen. Like, I love going to Dad's for dinner, but I needed to see him make the dinner. If he was saying
Yeah.
come over for leftovers, I'm like, I think not.
I think not.
I think not, because he also would just put food, he'd cook something and just leave it sit on the stove overnight. Like, no wonder your liver couldn't filter anything out, man. Probably the toxins from all the. Anyway, so unless I saw it be prepared,
it wasn't going to happen.
His habits. It's probably a generational thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He would eat it well past the expiration date and got really mad at me when I throw things out at the expiration date.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's still good.
Yeah.
I have one regret in not meeting your dad, because I would have absolutely loved the opportunity to take a hot dog and some ketchup and make some very strong eye contact while that ketchup makes its way on. If only, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
That would not have worked out in your best interest.
What? Come at me. What are you going to do?
Well,
smack upside the
just
head?
to watch the reaction, right?
Be worth it.
Oh, there would have been
YOLO.
There would have been some words, I can assure you. You would have left crying, probably.
My dad is a lover of ketchup. I remember growing up, I felt like he had it on everything, including pizza and stuff like that, right?
Oh,
like,
no.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Now, my
Bob.
dad makes a sandwich. Oh, I don't even know if I'm going to get this right. He puts ketchup. He'll have like a bologna sandwich with ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise, cheese, jam, and maybe even peanut butter on it. I don't know. He's got some god-awful concoction happening on this sandwich.
Bob.
I can't do it. Yeah.
Bob.
Laurie's right about something for a change. Don't do that.
Oh, Mike. Oh. You're going to regret that, lad.
Yeah.
Dad would be so thrilled right now to be the topic.
The topic
Yeah,
of
there we go.
conversation.
All these things.
Yeah.
Well, you guys had some opportunity to bond over music. Now, I did not grow up in a musical family. However, we did listen to lots of music, going for car rides and stuff, right? Like, I'll never forget. I'd be like, I don't know, 10 years old, and it'd be summer holidays, and my dad would be off, and he'd be like, "Hey, little man, you want to go for a car ride and get some ice cream?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go to Dairy Queen," right? Like, we go for like a 2-hour car ride to someplace out in the middle of nowhere and get some ice cream. But it would always be a good time. And I remember I was probably in grade 8, and we got a new car, and we kind of needed to break it in. And my dad, my best friend Alyssa, and I went for a car ride. And I remember, I think we went to Port Stanley, and my dad had just got Monster 80s CD, because this is our first car with a CD player.
Yeah, baby.
And Monster 80s.
Monster 80s.
And it had like the best 80 songs on it. And that car ride was the first time that Alyssa, I believe, had heard "Come On Eileen" by was that Dixie Midnight Runners. And my dad and I love that song, and it was her first time, and she was kind of like, "What is happening?" Because my dad and I were really into it. And so still to this day, anytime that song comes on, it's like the three of us, like right away. My brain goes to there.
Nice.
If I hear it, I'll text Alyssa saying it's on, and vice versa. It's like, it's our kind of little
weird little song.
What a wonderful way to look back on Father's Day. We have some wonderful people in our lives, don't we? And grateful for all the memories.
I would have to say, though, before we go, I also had a very, very good and kind and wonderful stepfather.
Oh,
yeah. Who also, he died a year and a half after my dad did.
Right.
Oh.
Yes. But Tony was a wonderful man too. And he was the complete opposite.
Right.
My dad. This very stoic British man who was very calm and quiet. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? I don't understand. I don't know how to function in this. Help me.
Why aren't you yelling at me?
Help me.
This isn't normal.
Give me something to cry about.
Well, then to all the fathers and father figures in our lives, let's say a nice, clear, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
And thank you all for joining us on another episode. And we will see you next time on Out for Coffee.
With Mike and Laurie. And Rob.
Bye, guys.
Bye now.
Do you have questions, comments, or ideas for a future show? Reach out to Mike and Laurie on their social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or email us at mikeandlauriesocials@gmail.com.